Hello, welcome to La Casa. Take a seat.
And feel like home.
Hi!
Hi, it's us again, another
Another
week.
week.
And today with the first time of like a new segment that we want to start, but normally we're gonna do it with guests.
But I think it's important that you also get to know us.
It's gonna be a segment about cultural experience, and it's very on brand as well that we're talking about. I feel like it's very important that we're talking about what's happening in Venezuela
Immigration.
and immigration, obviously. But right now, your country is on the hit list of countries to talk about. I feel like.
You see, also, I would like to make some disclaimers before people try to murder me on the internet. The thing is, I left my country around 8 years ago on 2018. So,
Oh yeah, let's. I wanted to ask you anyway. Like, why did you go?
okay, yeah, that's kind of important. That was kind of the disclaimer that I was gonna make. It's kind of linked. Because I didn't like it there. Of course, it's very easy to not like the country you're from, when your country is shit. Sorry, I said that, but it's true. I don't think there's like any country that is perfect, but when you can see how bad it actually is for you, it you just feel like it's very unfair, let's say. You're like, why the fuck was I born into this shithole? Again, sorry, but that's just the way I feel. So when I left, it was a very complicated time there. It was around the time where there wasn't food, there wasn't any medicines, there was nothing more than like death and poverty and delincuencia. Do you know what a delinquent is?
No.
A delinquent is someone that breaks the law and like,
Um,
so yeah, okay, I don't know how to say it, but like,
you can
um
imagine it. Like people there.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
basically you go out to the street and you don't know if you're gonna get robbed or you're gonna get kidnapped or you're gonna get killed or you're gonna get like whatever. So that was basically my situation. I was 18 when I left, so what I knew was mainly that.
Hmm.
I think they say, allegedly, the legend goes that for some years Venezuela was like a really good country, but I never lived it. I lived like okay years, considering like I was in a privileged coño, ¿me entienden?
Yeah.
Privileged stage where money was okay. We were never rich, and there's a lot of like class division in Venezuela.
Is it like this? Because I've heard it from Argentina. I've heard it from Chile as well, but mostly friends from Argentina told me about this, that there's like gated communities as well where people with like more money, they live more also, like if I think about South Africa, I
Yeah.
think about apartheid, I always think about stuff like this. So more like gated communities for like people that want to live a more secure life, but obviously they're also like shutting themselves from like the reality in a way, which I am the last person to judge because I've never ever lived a life that is even a little bit relatable to this. So I've never lived a life in fear of for my own life, like
Yeah.
I've never had to go on the street and be like, fuck, like I might die at any second. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say there are definitely gated communities where the people there, like, it's like their own little ecosystem, let's
Mm-hmm.
say. But I wouldn't say there were like 100% completely safe.
Mm-hmm.
People still had to go out, like to do stuff
Sure,
like
sure.
the school work, to buy groceries. So it's not like it was like a cult or like a sect or whatever. You have kind of like, I think that's kind of common in Latin American countries, but or well, South American countries, but yeah, I think it affected everyone. It is true that the people who were less affected, it was because maybe they were involved with the government. Okay, another disclaimer, there are like, I don't know how many people lived in Venezuela by that time. There's a lot of people who were like already born into wealthy families just out of luck, the same that happens here and in any country. But most people who had a lot of money by 2015 2016 is because the family was involved with the government in
Mm.
some way or another. Like, I'm not saying they were like best friends with Maduro or whatever, but they were kind of linked with it. So yeah, I would say that everybody was kind of fucked because maybe you had, I don't know if you had like better access to food. Maybe you just didn't care if the prices went up because you had money to buy the stuff. But
Mhm.
when you go to the supermarket and you see empty shelves, where what the fuck are you gonna buy? You know. But yeah, like nobody that was close to me like was like really involved with the government, of course. So I wouldn't know how they lived. I'm just gonna talk about my experience and my friends' experiences.
Mhm.
And also, I would say that, I mean, when you grow up and all you know, like I was born in the 2000s and Chavez started like being president of Venezuela in 1999. So when you grow up always hearing like, this is such a bad country, this is such a bad president, this is such a bad government, you like, in my case, I know a lot of my friends don't feel the same way, but in my case, I never like developed a sense of like attachment to my country. Like for me, it was like, yeah, I live here. It's not like I'm gonna get something about my country tattoo. Like I don't feel represented by what I'm seeing. Like also, I would say the culture. I mean, I think it differs in obviously in any country. I think that might also happen to you in Germany. Like you're part of the country, but you don't feel like you fit in. Let's say.
I would say also the culture is like a big part of it because like if you don't feel represented by the government and you don't feel part of the culture, I think it's very very hard. For example, because referring to other like South American countries, I've heard like more people really felt like part of their culture,
Yeah.
which is why they missed it so much, which is why they tried to live there even though the government and like the economy was shit. So yeah, must be something about the culture because I don't relate with German culture as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe it's because I have an avoidant attachment, but I was always like, I'm saying this because my mother, obviously, I mean, she lived there way longer than me, but like she felt really attached to Venezuela. My sister as well, my closest friends as well. For me, it was like I literally couldn't care less, whatever. Not what I was living there, because when I was living there, obviously it affected me. So obviously it was like, okay, this is so not cool. But after I left, I was like, I need like a detox. I don't want to hear like, when you live there, it's like almost everything is bad news. Like
mm,
you turn on the radio, you turn on the TV, and it's always like, so many people died, so many people are going to jail, like
mm,
unfairly. Nobody gives a fuck. Everything, the price of everything is rising.
mm,
People are starving. Like there was a moment. This is kind of weird because when you live there, you kind of normalize these things, but when you get out, it's like, oh shit, this shit is really intense. Where people were like breaking in into the zoos to eat the animals of the zoos. Not joking. This is true.
that's
You can search it up.
crazy.
I mean, the other day I saw a tweet about someone being like, "Do you remember when this happened?" Which was that there was no money for paying for materials. So when you used to go to the supermarket, instead of having like good carton boxes, you got like the lowest quality. Like it was almost like paper, like for cereals, for toothpaste, for, it was so insane. Maybe we can try to edit like some of the picture because it was so insane. The fact that it's like the tags in the bottles of like Coca-Cola or something like that, it was like in black and white because they couldn't print in color. It was I completely
Whoa,
forgot about that. And those were like years of that, not like 10 years, but maybe a couple of years. It's so fucking crazy. So
that's crazy.
when I left, I was kind of like over it in a way.
Sure, but you also have Spanish, no?
Yeah.
So your mom is Spanish or your dad?
No, my grandparents are Spanish.
Bruh, but then you're basically Venezuelan, like
I am
through and
for
through,
sure, for
no?
sure. It is true that my mom was like one of the, she has a lot of siblings and she was one of the first that was actually born in Venezuela. So
I
she
know.
was raised by Spaniards and you could see that for sure, like in some things, like not really, like I think my parents, well, my dad's side is like fully Venezuelan, I think. Maybe like a grandparent isn't. It was like probably a Spaniard, but in some of the food we ate or some of the things we did, maybe it differ a little from other people in Venezuela. But it is true that I think people that don't live in South America don't actually realize how much European influence you have there.
Sure, sure.
Maybe not in every country of South America, but I know that you have this in Argentina as well. That it's like most of my friends, like their family is like Italian,
Yeah, sure.
Spanish, Portuguese, whatever. So it's not like everybody is like 100% Venezuelan because you have stuff.
Colonialism.
Colonialism, yeah.
I mean,
Now we're going to a part two of colonialism
if
in
you
Venezuela.
bueno, and but in other parts of, like of the world as well,
See,
like it's crazy, honestly. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's so much European influence because it used to be Europeans that colonialized those countries,
yeah,
you know.
no, but
Bueno,
also like when there was like the Second World War and here the Civil War in Spain, a lot of European immigrants flew to Venezuela and started like even recently. That's what I mean. Like because it was in the 1900s, I think.
I heard we have to talk about this with like some of my Argentinian friends because
About
I was saying to Paloma when I met her, I was like, if my life here is gonna go to shit, I'm just gonna go to Argentina and just work at a farm in Patagonia. And she was
that's
like,
very
"That's such
cute.
a German thing to say." Because
The
I think,
Germans do. Well, I
mm,
mean, it is true that historically, allegedly, a
or
lot of
Colonia
Germans
Dignidad
did
uh,
go to,
to Chile
to
as well.
and yeah,
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
it's kind of crazy, and I mean it's also like a lot about like colorism, whatever,
Yeah,
and I can't
that's a
speak
lot
about
of
that.
that.
But I mean I'm surprised sometimes because I see like a lot of like Latin Americans and whatever, and
And we look quite normal for this.
no, pero no, but it's the same that you say, oh, Germans can tan, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, and
there's a lot of
also
stereotypes,
loads of
maybe.
people that say all Germans are blondes, which is not true. Like some,
Because we had this conversation on Friday, and Hannah was like, "You know that not all Germans are
and I
blonde."
had one friend here, and
And
she's
she was
blonde.
blonde.
She has
And then
blue
she sent
eyes.
me a video. I mean, it's not, I've been to Germany and not everybody is blonde, but I would say like at least 75% of people there are.
75. We're gonna
Sí, girl.
look this up because
Sí,
I think
bueno.
this is bullshit.
Because here everybody's like moreno.
In Sweden or like
Sí.
Norway, I would say yes, or Denmark. But like in Germany, I would say like
I mean,
maybe
I would say
55-60%.
like black hair is not too common there. Like
Not
you can
too
have brown
common.
hair, but it's gonna be like kind of light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like very dark. So that's kind of also she sent me a video talking with one of her best friends from there. Guess what? Blonde. So
She's the only first like you're gonna meet my friend on my birthday,
uh-huh.
and
Then
she's
it's
the
like
only
one
blonde
brown
one.
hair
She's
girl.
the only blonde one.
See?
See? No, but what I wanted to say is it's kind of interesting also because I was like with Paloma again. We were like going out, and she was like, "Oh, all Argentinians," and I was like looking at them. They could have been from fucking Germany easily.
Yeah.
They looked so like I like if they wouldn't have opened their mouth, I maybe would have guessed two of them were Spanish, all the others could
See.
have been Germans.
Yeah, that's kind of like the misconception, maybe. I mean, I'm talking this or I'm saying this considering that I was born in the capital city, which is Caracas. If you go to another town, you would not probably see as much of this as in the main city, of course, but like it's still pretty common, I would say. Maybe that's just my Caracas point of view of things, but the point is I left because I was like, well, first it made no sense for me to study in a university because it's gonna be like super expensive, because it was super expensive back then. Now I think it's even more expensive, with I wouldn't say a bad quality of studies, but a different standard. Let's just say it like that. Like, let's not compare.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like the best universities by the time I graduated school, they were the public ones. Allegedly, kind of, not really, but whatever. And they did not have any professors like showing up because since it was like a public university, it was free, and they used to pay professors like the professors who used to teach there. It was just because of like passion, because they really believed in like
Ah.
teaching the future generations, nothing else. nothing else,
And so
literally.
they wouldn't show up sometimes because they were like, oh no.
Yeah, they had like this. I think it was like paro universitario, which is like a strike, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like the university is like falling into pieces. So like I don't really know because I never studied there. My sister did, and she graduated, and my brother as well from la UCB. Pero not my case. Like for me, it's like okay, so I'm gonna start and I'm gonna finish in like 10 years because most people instead of like spending 4 years into their degree, it would be like 6 or 7 or 8 or 10, and you couldn't graduate because you didn't get classes. It was like too. I for me, it was like this is so pointless. I'm not like, what the fuck am I gonna do here? Also, I was so tired from the people. Also, living with my parents, I was like, I need to leave, and everybody at that moment in time was leaving Venezuela to
Are
go.
you like a lot of people, or are you referring to your own
No, a
family?
lot of people. That was the year of
Mm.
like most
And was it again?
2017,
Okay.
2018. It was like because those were like the harshest years in that sense. And I have to say, after I left, I didn't really keep in touch with the country in the sense of my father still lives there and I have a lot of friends there. You don't really talk about that type of political things. You want to know about how people are doing like in their day to
Sure.
day, not like in the I mean, sometimes my dad sends voice notes which make me laugh because it's kind of like insane because I haven't lived under that conditions. But when I used to live there, I think since I was 13 or so until I was 18, and it's still going on to this day. We had like water shortages. There were like some days, depending on the zone where you lived, you had water shortage. So for us, it was, I think, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think maybe Thursday night. It started on Thursday night, and then we got it back like Sunday night or something like that. I don't remember. And in other zones, we had like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like that. And sometimes my dad in his voice notes is like, "Well, here, it's Thursday, so as you know, I don't have water as usual." And he's not even saying it like in a sarcastic kind of way. He's just like,
Yeah,
bueno,
no.
como sabes, normal, los jueves por la noche no hay más agua. Y it's like, yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
not normal. I mean, it
See.
shouldn't be normal. I know it is normal in some other countries as well, but it's like, what the hell? Like, I've been living 8 years without ever not having like water to bathe and cook and do my stuff, unless there was like someone like fixing a tube in the building or something like that,
Mm.
you know? So,
But your dad lives there, but your mom and your siblings also went to Spain, no?
yeah.
Did they like leave the same year you did, or
my
after you?
brother my brother and I left at the same time, but
Okay.
my sister came like 2 years or 1 year and a half after. My mom came after like 6 months of us being here, so we were like quite close in time. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like we spent 100 years without seeing each other. And thankfully my dad can come and visit like from time to time, like often enough, like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Yeah,
So that's nice.
that's good.
See,
Do you remember how it felt to move here?
I was very excited because, like, to paint a picture, I had gone to the airport. By the time that I left, I had gone to the airport maybe like 5 times to say goodbye to five of my closest friends. I was literally so done. The one before me, I was like, this is the last time I'm putting a foot in this fucking airport
But
without being me the one that's leaving. I'm not going to
but
say.
they left like for good as well. Like they left.
See, see, some
Oh
of them
wow.
came
Okay.
back for whatever reason, like they have their own reasons, but like everybody was leaving. Like it was not like like a rare occurrence. Like everybody was
Mm-hmm.
leaving, especially because in my case, like after you graduated school, what's
You
there
have
to
to make a
do?
choice of your own, like I did. You,
Efectivamente.
everyone has to,
Yeah,
in a way.
but you did study college in
I
your
have a
university.
master's degree.
Wow,
Woohoo!
education. ¿En qué?
Slapping and literature and culture.
She's so gay.
Yeah, she is.
And that's really cool. But for me, yeah, it was like kind of like the excuse was to study, like to try to study in a university here.
In Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like, I mean, for me, it was like I just want to leave and start anew. So I was excited because I was so done. Things were really, really complicated. Like, if I wanted to go out, it was like a whole thing because it was really like tough in on the streets. So it's like,
Go out meaning just going out, leaving your house.
yeah,
Just
like,
leaving your house, like casually.
yeah, because the thing here, I mean, I
I
don't know.
mean, look, I think a lot of people will understand maybe like the Latin Americans that can relate.
See,
But for me,
it's
that's
fucking
why I'm
weird.
asking you.
See,
It's like for me, it's even like just the thought of living in the U.S., knowing that people carry guns,
yeah,
gives me a shit ton of anxiety, and I
see,
wouldn't like that. You know what I
see,
mean? And the craziest that I can imagine is like the craziest. And she loves Santiago, but my like really close friend from Santiago de Chile, she said she's always like locking her car when she goes from work home,
see,
and then she's opening the garage, and then she's going another una vuelta
see.
around the block, and then she's driving right in and closing the gate because she's afraid of getting robbed. And I was
Yeah,
like,
you when you live in
oh,
South
what the.
America, you get kind of like paranoid about a lot of things. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the thing is, maybe it's kind of like in America, but I think it's because they're lazy there, or the distance are like very like wide. But there's no way you could walk anywhere. Like,
In Venezuela,
see, there's no way you can do that.
how
Like,
did you move? Like, how did you move your body
by car.
by car?
So I have to. I don't drive. Okay, I'm a passenger princess for now. Hopefully
Yo
forever,
también.
pero for now. So it was always like, hey, can somebody come pick me up? Or like, my brother, can you drop me off? My sister, can you take me to this place? Mom,
Whoa.
dad, whatever. Like, which is like, obviously, you're very dependent on things. For me, like, it was a whole concept. Like, for me, it wasn't like when I got into Europe, I was like, I cannot believe I can walk the street because, like, my 18 years, for me, my mentality was like, what the fuck is this shit country? You cannot even, like, in my building, like right next to my building, we had like a bakery. Going to the fucking bakery, like just like crossing three fucking steps and
You
going to
couldn't
the,
do it.
you could, but it would be like, oh my fucking god, I might die, and you might actually die. Like, I mean, maybe that's a little bit too like exaggerated, but like,
But if it was the feeling that you had, that is like enough said, you know what I mean? Like
see.
if this is like the grade of like anxiety you're like feeling every single day, that's insane.
Yeah, that's why I'm sorry to put Barcelona on the spot, but that's why I would never live in Barcelona because in Barcelona you have a little bit more crime than in Madrid. And you can
Mm.
feel it when you walk in Las Ramblas, when you walk in El Barrio Gótico, you kind of are like looking over your shoulder because you don't know if you're going to get mugged, you know? So, yeah, that's kind of like the feeling
I think
all the time.
I think this is like a really interesting like difference. So my friend from Colombia, when I met her, it was
See?
the same. We met on Bumble BFF. I met all my best friends on Bumble BFF, almost all of them.
Again, Bumble BFF, can you
Please
please
sponsor
sponsor?
us, like for real. What are you even
Bumble BFF, it
doing?
really works. This is the proof.
Yeah. So she is from Colombia.
See,
She's been living here for 8 years as well.
are you talking about Angie?
Angie,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And when we first met, we were going to Alex's place, which is in like near Gran Via.
Callao is fucking insane.
See,
You have to go
insane.
like
It's
next to
insane.
Primark. It's
It's
fucking
insane.
insane. See,
But she was like, yeah. So we had like spoken for like a night very much, and then we wanted to like meet for a coffee. Next week, I was texting her again, and she was like, yeah, we can meet like tomorrow for a coffee, whatever. I'm working a lot, but I'm going to this my friend's best friend's place tonight to have like a beer if you want to come. And he lives there and there, and it's very near my house. So I was like, I mean, why not?
see.
And so I went, and she opened the door, and she was like, this is how people get murdered. You know that, right? I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't
Well,
thinking about,
the thing
oh, they could
is,
be, she could not be real, or it could be like something could happen to me or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah, because there's also like a whole different culture here. Like, I don't think Bumble BFF could ever work in Venezuela. Like, the culture there is so different, so it's like more complicated. But you would go to strangers places all the time. Obviously, like you could go to like a club, and I used to go a lot to clubs there to like to party, but the best party were at people places. So you're always
Hmm.
like, oh, a friend of mine is doing this, or I know a friend of a friend of a friend who's doing this at this party. Maybe we should
Mm.
go tonight. So it's like it's not like that, because at the end of the day, I mean, some things can happen. I think I have a friend that she wanted to do like a not a small gathering, but something of the sort.
But this happens in Germany as well.
See, and then you have like 100 people in your place,
Yeah, yeah,
and they
yeah.
taking, because they don't know you and you don't know them, they're taking things from your place. But like,
Cheesy.
and so I think it can happen anywhere
Yeah, we had
actually.
that in Germany.
But it's not like you were like, I'm sure this happened, I'm sure, but like it's not like you think when you invite someone over that they're gonna bring a gun, because it is true that people have guns in Venezuela, not the normal people. Like in
Yeah,
United States, it's like you don't know who actually has a gun or not, because caras vemos, corazones no sabemos. If you have a gun in Venezuela, it's because you are like a delinquent.
yeah,
You're a thug. You're
yeah.
literally a thug, you know?
Okay.
That, or you work with the government, which is like, why would you want to get involved with people like that? Me personally, because my moral guide is like, I'm not gonna fucking be around these people.
Can you, when we're talking about the government, because like
See.
we all know what happened right now, the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
And
I can tell.
I want you to, because you told me how you feel about this, and
See.
you've been obviously in very many ways frustrated
See.
because of it, and because of also the way people handled the situation, especially Spanish people that were throwing like their opinions into the
Europeans,
pot.
because it's very easy to have an opinion on something that you have never lived and you will never live. So whatever. I think one of the things that I said is like, I think people who haven't lived in Venezuela don't actually get it, which I'm glad they don't. I don't want them to get what it's like there. And I'm not saying Venezuela is the only country that's having a rough time. There are like 100 countries like that right now. But it's like people have these very privileged opinions, and like, okay, you see the situation, like you're from Europe where you kind of live like a fairly well life. I don't know which country. Like there are some
Yeah,
countries in
I
Europe
mean,
which are
some
shit, but
better, some
see,
worse, but
obvio.
just in general, you don't have to fear for your life. You can
Yeah.
kind of make a living, whatever,
See.
like more or less.
I mean, like the stats are like 30% of the country is like in extreme poverty in Venezuela, and like, I don't know, like 50-60% is living in poverty,
Already,
which
yeah,
is not true here or in like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
most
yeah.
European countries. I think I'm not an expert. The truth is, yeah, that when I left, I kind of like disconnected myself with things, because I lived it like immediately after I left. A month after, I saw news of things happening in Venezuela, and I was like, "¿Qué? This makes no sense. This makes no sense because I don't live there, and things change so fucking quick there, and some things are so absurd. You're like, this cannot be real. This cannot be possible, but it is possible, and it's real. And when you live there, you kind of like get it. You're kind of like get used to it, but outside, it's just like something so hard to grasp. But I don't really keep up with news in Venezuela, obviously knowing that most of half of the people I follow on Instagram are from Venezuela, so I still get obviously news and stuff. But yeah, the past 2 weeks, the thing is, a lot of shit has been happening with United States, and it's like, so to kind of understand what's happening in Venezuela as of today, you also have to know what's happening in the United States as of today. And that's like a lot of things. And I don't have the time or energy to be thinking about it. But I would say that in my 18 years of living in Venezuela and my 25 years of being Venezuelan, I've seen a lot of things happen in the country. And for people to be like really excited, it is heartbreaking to watch, for real. Like, I'm just cynic. I don't know how you say it. Like, I when you no, como hay una palabra.
Soonish. Like
No, I'm a
the
skeptical. I'm a skeptical of
ah
things. So when I was younger and I saw a lot of things happening, I was like, I'm sorry, but I don't think things are gonna change. Like things are too rotten to change. The mentality of people there, it's like scarcity mindset. You cannot have any other mindset. I will tell you that. It's not like, oh, the poor people. No, it's not like,
You have to
yeah,
think that
like,
way. Like
yeah,
it comes with the living.
yeah, everybody
Yeah.
there is like surviving all the time, and they actually are doing an okay job at surviving because they actually even have a good time. They're not everybody's like shitting their pants constantly or like
Got
having
it.
crippling anxiety because you need to get shit done and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the news, because I'm saying because I'm doing the disclaimer that I'm not an expert, I just know what I think and what I feel about having lived there. I think now, I don't know what was the last thing that Trump said. I think he kind of threatened Europe for I don't know what. He said like to not expect peace. So I don't know if he actually wants to make Venezuela like,
Fight for him or what?
sí, no
Puede
sé, no
ser.
sé. That man is fucking
But
deranged. He's
what
crazy.
we know is
He bombed.
he
We
captured
have to
Maduro.
bomb Venezuela.
He captured Maduro. What the fuck? And his wife.
Capture Maduro and his wife. See.
And kind of wants like the treasures of the Venezuelan country. Huh?
Right. I mean, that's the
So you said something to me that was very. It was kind of a very imagey way of saying it.
yeah. So basically, like the way of seeing it, like for people who are not Venezuelans and have not lived there, it's like, oh my God, Trump, he is such an opportunist, because he wants to take all the oil from Venezuela or all the like the natural, like, yeah, the national natural treasures that we have there, which is like, it has been years since Venezuela saw any actual like benefit from that. So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, yeah, we are sitting on a treasure and none of us
No,
have the
the
key,
key
and
exactly.
we never will have the key. That's
Hmm.
one important thing. Maybe I'm too pessimistic surrounding my country in that sense, but it's like we have to be fucking honest. Like, never in the history of Venezuela that was actually like completely correct. I don't know how to explain it. Like, even in the past when there was like a brief moment in time, because people love to like bring this fact out, like there was a brief moment where Venezuela was actually super important and it was doing very well. It was one of the richest countries in the world. Maybe this lasted like less than a decade, don't quote me on that, but it was like less than a decade, girl. They had just discovered that we had like a lot of oil, and it was just like in the moment where the rest of the world was also like in a oil boom or whatever. So of course in that moment it was taken advantage of like in a good way for the country. That lasted really
Hmm.
fucking quick. Like it went away really quick because power, like it really blinds people, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, like the fact is like Trump, he did it not because he wanted to free the Venezuelan people. No one in the whole entire world wants the Venezuelans to be free. Like only the Venezuelans. I think you can kind of understand because most people, you only care about your stuff. Like it's hard to,
Loads of people don't. Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to really really care about other things. You have to be like really altruistic, which not a lot of people are like that. Most people are a little bit selfish, which is fine. But like obviously Trump wants to like get all of our oil and minerals and stuff and whatever, but like there weren't even ours. Like if it's not Trump, it's gonna be fucking Russia, and if not Russia, it's gonna be China. So who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? At least they took like one, like he took the face of the movement, which because he's the face, it doesn't mean that he's the mastermind behind all of this. I don't know, like you have to be kind of smart to be able to be that stupid, because Maduro is really stupid, but he's really stupid when there's a camera in front of him. We don't know what he talks about or how he talks about in I don't know, we
Yeah.
don't
It's
care.
like you never know.
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily think Maduro is a smart person, but you do have to be kind of smart to be able to get into that position. Like how come bueno, whatever. I'm not gonna get into that because it's not relevant. But the fact is it's been 25 years now. It's so rotten that it's like I think everybody that is involved with the government in any shape, way, or form, even if you're like from the other side, like the opposition, you still are involved with the government. So taking the face, I think it has value because it's the farthest anyone has ever gone to change things in Venezuela.
Which doesn't
um
mean that Trump is a good person. And I think that's
no,
like the
he's a fucking
it's like it's
asshole.
literally you said we also had that it's about choosing between two diseases or something like it's like
Yeah, yeah, pick your poison because
yeah, pick your poison,
it's
exactly.
kind of like people all the time, and you get this a lot when you are like an immigrant, especially from Venezuela. You get told some things about your country. Maybe this what I used to get is like it's such a shame, like the state of the country, because it's such a beautiful country and you have so much like benefits from the land and you're like geographically
It could
blessed.
it could be like
Yeah,
yeah,
I've been hearing that all the time. You see that on television, like Venezuela is such a shame, this country. Like, and nobody gives a fuck. Nobody did anything, like for real. More than like, let's open a dialogue. Let's try to talk some sense into evil people that want all of the money and all of the benefits. It's like dialogue. It's not gonna help at this point. After 25 years, we've known people have died. People have gone to jail. Like, there's
people
so
are
many.
starving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like nobody gives a fuck, and it's just like everybody kind of like prefers to see a country go to waste. Like, maybe I'm not saying this is like, okay, don't quote me on this again, but it's like maybe the things that are in Venezuela can help the rest of the world, and nobody gives a fuck just because they don't want to get their hands dirty. So I think that's kind of lame, to be fair. It fucking sucks that it had to be Trump. It sucks. i
Hmm.
i wish it had been like a more trustworthy person, because he's
And
not
out
that.
of other intentions, obviously, and
See,
with more, I don't know, whatever.
yeah, because I think maybe for Trump, he kind of like saw the situation with Venezuela and he was like, I cannot believe this country has a lot of things that we need. They're like in the gutter right now with their government. And we're just gonna let it like I want that. And I want it's not the first time also that in like historically the United States has been involved in like oil things in Venezuela, and those were very good years for Venezuela, mind you. I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen right now, but like I mean, we live in a world, in the same world, we can all cooperate. I don't think Trump has any good intention. I don't think he wants to cooperate. I think he just wants to be powerful, and that's it. So what does that mean with Venezuela? A lot of people are very sad because we don't know if that means we're gonna be like Puerto Rico or Hawaii or whatever. It's like, okay, you come, you conquer. It's like the Spanish all over again. Or if it's gonna help for something, or we don't know. And I've seen so much discourse online about your country is gonna go to absolute shit. It's like that means you have absolutely no idea what that means, because for it to go to shit, you think it was actually like okay before, and it really wasn't.
Hmm.
So it's kind of
Hmm.
like, what's the difference then? Maybe at least some things can try to change. Maybe I know change is hard, but
Maybe something is happening in a way.
yeah,
Because sometimes stagnation is like not necessarily worse, but sometimes things happening can start something.
yeah,
We don't know, but as you said, pick your poison. Like it's
yeah.
terrible that it was Trump because Trump, we can agree on what kind of a fucking person he is.
The thing
If not,
is,
don't listen to this fucking podcast.
the thing is,
Goodbye.
I don't know how is that gonna affect, because they bombed Caracas, well, and some other like points of Venezuela on the 3rd of January. It's currently the 20th, and not much has changed other than Maduro
Not
is
being there
captured. Yeah,
anymore.
but it's like, okay, so what are the like 3 to 5 months have to go by for us to actually know what to expect. Right now, I would say, me as an empath, I'm sensing that things are gonna go a little bit sideways, because I think Trump is kind of losing his mind right now with what he said about to not expect peace. So I don't know what the fuck he meant by that. It's like, are you like threatening a war or what the fuck is going on, whatever. Elections need to take place like sooner rather than later by the Venezuelan law. That's like a fact. If the president is not there anymore, there has to be elections. Maximum, I think it's like a month. Like you only have 1 month from there. Obviously, in like 10 days, we're not gonna have elections in Venezuela. That doesn't mean that soon there's gonna be some type of election. I don't think Trump wants to be the president of Venezuela. I think he wants to have like someone
The
he can
power
control,
over it.
but like also because I don't think Trump actually understands the politics of Venezuela. He just wants the oil. So I don't know why he would get himself more work than what he has when he can just like make an alliance with someone from the country and to like
I mean, it's not the first time that the US has put like some really bad douchebag in the position of a president that
of
they can
course
control.
see. Plus there's
Look
still
around, bruh.
and there's
Ugh.
still a lot of like evil and questionable people inside the government of Venezuela. So it's kind of like, so what are the next steps? I will say that as of right now, for because I have spoken to my dad and my friends and stuff, people there right now are kind of like they don't really know what to expect. But what's happening right now is not too different of what was happening before. I think what's happening right now is that when you are in your car and you are like driving, you can get, it's called alcabala in Spanish, which is kind of like a control point for from police. Then you need to
Ah,
like stop the car and they have to like see your documents and stuff.
okay.
In Venezuela, it's like anyone can do this. It can be a police officer, or it can be a thug, or it can be like it can just happen to you because you have thugs that are wearing the uniform of the police.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think there are police officers that are like respectable in Venezuela. Like hand to my heart, I don't think there are. I think they're all like poison as well. So I think they're getting like their cell phones checked, and if they have like anything against the government, you might get a fine or you might get detained. This has happened so many times before. I'm not saying like, oh, okay, who cares? People are going to jail or people are like getting like fined for a lot of money, but it's like this is not unusual there. It happens every
Mhm.
so often. So yeah, that's kind
That's
of
not,
like
yeah.
normality there. But people are like working and having parties in the sense of like you're doing your life in as normal. It's not like people are like partying all the time, but
No,
they're
but what you said before, like the life that
you're
you're,
going out to
yeah.
eat, you're going to school. It's like I think things stopped for a week and then you have to get on track and you cannot pause your life forever. So things are complicated there, but they have always been complicated, which is shitty. It's just that now there's a saying in Spanish which is mejor diablo conocido que diablo por conocer.
Mm.
It's better
To
devil
have like a devil
that
that
you
you
know
know,
than a
then
devil that you don't know, or something like that. So I think that's why people are so scared because in other times, I guess, you know the evil. It's like the
yeah.
government and you know what they do. So you know kind of what to expect and how to avoid it. In this case, it's kind of like free for all.
You have like obviously we could like a Spanish passport as well, no?
Yes.
So it was easier for you to like just decide to come here, no?
Yeah.
I can imagine that probably the passport of the Venezuelans is also not very great to travel and stuff.
I
Is it
think
really
not.
hard to like to leave to Europe or to
I
Australia?
mean,
I mean,
I'm
or
not
whatever.
sure. I know
Where
there
do
are
most
some.
Venezuelans go?
It depends on like I have friends all over the world. Some people went to United States finally,
Ah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah, fair enough, yeah.
8 years ago because it's closer. You go to Miami. A lot of people had to go to like nearby cities like Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, mainly because it's closer. And I don't know if they had like any help. I know that for some years, some countries did have like the possibility to like help Venezuelans, and they stopped because they hated it. I
I
I
just heard
I, I
that
said before.
Colombians hate Venezuela.
No, girl, de los chilenos. Odio profundo.
But
I like the Chilean
I thought
Chilean.
Colombians and Venezuelans hate each other.
No, it's like a beef. I don't know. Do you in Germany have a beef with another country, which is like
You and Germany, in
no,
Germany.
yeah, like France and Belgium. There is like they don't really fuck with each other, but it's not like they hate each other. It's just like some rivalry, let's say. At the end of the day, like Colombia and Venezuela are siblings, like for real.
That's what
So
I said, because you say marico.
see,
And my Colombian friends, they were like, because you also say marica, and
see.
they were like, maricas from Colombia, blah, blah, blah.
No, but they only say marica.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
say
yeah. And they were like, but marica sounds.
I'm gender specific.
Yeah.
I'm woke. And there's a lot of things, of course. Like I think it's stupid. We were the same country once, and I love my Colombian friends. Like
I love my
that's so stupid.
Colombians.
That's so stupid. But maybe I don't know why exactly in the
But
past.
Chileans hate you. That's
See,
sadness.
but I think like Chileans that live in Chile, because I think there are a lot of Venezuelan people there, and something about maybe people in Venezuela not behaving the way Chileans.
Want them to?
Yeah, maybe they're too. I don't know. I don't care. I just seen on Twitter all the time, like they wish death upon us, and then you have the Venezuelan people wishing death upon them. Whatever. It's lame. It's lame. I just think
Well,
it's lame.
when Bernie is here, the Chilean girl, we can invite
See,
her on the podcast and like try to
see,
get it out of her.
let's see. But yeah, then a lot of people also came to Spain because they have the passport as well, because one of their grandfathers, grandparents, or whatever was Spanish. A lot of people have an Italian passport.
En Venezuela también.
See, like a
Ah,
lot of them have.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. I think it's
they're
just
called Italo-Venecos. Probably it's more like common to go to Spain just because we already speak the language. But if you know Italian and you have the Italian passport, why would you be not in Italy? I know I have some friends that are also in France because I don't know
bueno.
why or how or what the fuck. It's a bit, I mean, I think it's a bit complicated, but to get the nationality in any country, it's complicated. Like in case of
Yeah.
I could have gone to Italy or whatever because I'm a member of the European Union,
Yeah.
but it's still hard. Like I had friends in the university that were like from the European Union, but they were not Spanish, so they still struggled with the fucking nie. You know how?
I mean, I did. Even in
See,
being
it's
fucking
awful
German,
because Spanish bureaucracy is a
it's
fucking
literally
pain in
to
the ass.
die. Yeah.
In my case, since I had the passport, I just had to show up and be like,
Hello.
I'm
Also, if you
back.
understand Spanish, which helps a lot because
Sí,
people
obvio.
talking bureaucracy shit, I'm like,
Oh no, girls. To me, it kind of sounds like German for real. But
kinda.
I luckily had my older brother with me, so
Yeah,
since he also had to do the process himself, he knew exactly what to do for mine. So I
that's
didn't
really
have.
good.
Is the nice thing about being
That's
the
also
youngest.
like, I don't know how it is in Venezuela, but I've noticed this in like a lot of South American countries that like family is a very important part. And then loads of
Yeah.
people have to leave their families behind. But I mean, kind of luckily that your family, like besides your dad, also
See.
came to Europe. No.
Yeah, it's usually like I would say that my family is not very South America
Mhm.
stereotypical family because it was just the five of us, barely, if
Mhm.
I may say. It's I think it's better now because we all have our space, but when we used to live together, it was kind of awful for real. But most people like have to live with their uncles or aunties or cousins, or you see them like very frequently, or like your grandparents sometimes they have to live in the same house. Like this is like normal things, I think, in any country, I would say, but especially there it's not like no tú dices que no. Bueno, in Germany it's not like that.
No, because that's very. We can talk, like, do another episode on like how we live in Spain and whatever,
Sí.
and how it is here. Maybe because it was like important to like talk about the whole Venezuelan thing,
Sí.
I think, and then also we can put like a little bit more light on that. I know in Germany, obviously, there are people that love their families and stuff, but it's way more common to leave your home at 18.
Okay,
You
kind of like
mostly
in America, no,
live
or
with,
something.
yeah, you live with your parents and your siblings, and that's it.
Sí.
Like very little people live with their grandparents, for example. There
Yeah.
are, but it's like not common.
Sí.
And some people also move out with 16 or something if they go for work, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like way more common to go away with 18 and just be like,
Yeah.
you know?
That's
So,
no, that's actually true. For me, that kind of makes sense, like for the way that my personality is. But I remember that I like one of my best friends from school. She's living in France right now, but I remember we were celebrating, I don't know if it was like her 15th birthday or something like that. And her and her mom, the birthday is like one day apart, and she was like, okay, for to celebrate my birthday, we will go to the beach and we will celebrate my birthday, but also the birthday of my mom. And most of her uncles and aunts were there and cousins and stuff. And I think that was the first time that I saw what a typical Venezuelan family gathering.
looked like.
Yeah, I was like, freak the fuck out for real, because I have never like seen it like that, because my family is not like that. Maybe I got in together with my the other side of my like my cousins and my uncles and my aunts or whatever like twice for Christmas, and it still was kind of weird. For my friend, it was like we were 15 and all the adults, I mean, the music was blasting, of course, merengue, salsa, bachata, reggaeton, which those things you could hardly hear in my house, like if I put it, but my parents didn't like that type of music. And like it's like there's so much family there, everybody, like the joy of it was like to be all together. And for me that was like, whoa, that's fucked up, like never in my life I have had like that relationship. But yeah, I think in South America, that's very, very important. So I know that a lot of people have struggled with that. For me, I was kind of like burned out and I needed my own space. I think maybe that's what happened as well for you. It's just like it's not like you don't love your family or whatever, but it's just like I want to do life on my own. It's not like after 8 years, I'm like, oh, I wish more than anything else to go back, because I'm actually really happy with the life I built for myself in the place that I've chosen, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Damn.
Hug your Venezuelan friend today.
Hug
They've
your
been
Venezuelan
through.
friend today. And for me, the moral of the story, and also why we're doing this podcast and why we're doing this segment of the podcast, is listen to people more. Listen
Yeah.
to people that actually had the experience. If you have friends and you're privileged enough to have friends that lived in those countries or that experience things that maybe you don't experience, for example, also with like all other things like racism, sexism, whatever, like listen to those people, like listen to their hurt and listen to their stories.
I think it's
Moves a lot
important.
in a way,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
important to have like some compassion for people
Yeah.
and empathy as well. I think a lot of people, maybe I don't think I said anything too like groundbreaking today, but it's like you see it on a TV when you live in like the privilege of never having to experience that, and you just like look at numbers and look at a statistic and you make like your opinion about it, like an opinion that makes you feel good about yourself. Like I'm so above everyone else because I think those poor Venezuelans or those poor Palestinians or whatever. And it's like those are people, like for real, and
Listen to
and,
them,
and they
listen
really
to their
struggle.
needs and to
But
their struggles. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not saying that everybody should like quit their job and go move to Venezuela to help people. Like I'm not saying that,
No, no,
but
no.
like to underestimate maybe, or just to be like, I don't know, when you are sharing hate, you are gonna get hate back. That's a given. So try to see things out of like the perspective maybe of like caring and love, even if you might not agree with
Of the
some
people,
things.
yeah.
Like when there are lives at stake and like the future of people,
Yeah.
it's not like whether you like la tortilla con cebolla sin cebolla, which is like something stupid. Let's say it's like that this is real life and real people that are being
Yeah.
affected. So
Exactly.
yeah, thank you for listening to
La casa.
La Casa,
La
La
casa.
Chapa de la Casa.
La sobremesa. That
That's
was the first one.
see,
And
I
yeah,
could we could I mean this episode could have been 3 hours long. So
exactly.
quizás maybe in the future we can touch again on the subject if there are any news about it.
And we hope we can give more people a voice in a way to like talk about it
See,
and be listened to. And yeah, hug your Venezuelan friends.
see. Also, free
I'll do that in a
Palestine.
second.
See,
She's gonna give me a tattoo now, guys.
period.
So,
Get
well,
yourself a friend that tattoos
yeah,
as
free
well.
Palestine for sure.
Free
eh?
Palestine,
For
free
sure.
Palestine, free Venezuela,
That's
free
Congo,
Syria, free Congo, free
Sudan.
free everything that needs to be freed,
Exactly.
and stop comparing things, because also that's not nice.
Yeah, no.
Eso.
We'll hear each other next week and sending you only love.